Roll call. Board Member Steve Ty.
Here.
Board Member Newell Ruggles.
Here.
Board Member Peter Rogers.
Here.
Board Member Ray Marquez.
Present.
Board Member Catherine Marcucci.
Here.
Vice Chair Carol Herrera.
Here.
Chair Corey Moss.
Here. Okay, public comments. At this time, are there any members of the public that would like to address the authority? Hearing none.
Consent items. Consent items consist of 3.1 to 3.2.
I'll move to approve consent calendar.
Can I pull one? 3.2, if I can pull 3.2.
Okay. So, then we have a motion.
Peter has a motion.
We have a second. And then we'll discuss.
Roll call. Board Member Steve Ty.
Yes.
Board Member Newell Ruggles.
Yes.
Board Member Peter Rogers.
Yes.
Board Member Ray Marquez.
Yes.
Board Member Catherine Marcucci.
Aye.
Vice Chair Carol Herrera.
Yes.
Chair Corey Moss.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0 for item 3.1, correct?
Yes, for 3.1. So at this time, we're open for discussion for 3.2.
3.2, I just wanted an explanation, if I could get it from the attorney, pertaining to council services and conflict of interest, and then it says waiver for Woodruff, Stratton, and Smart. Can you explain that to me if you wouldn't mind?
Yes, is this on? Yeah. So, under the professional rules of conduct that govern attorneys, we have a duty to disclose potential conflicts of interest if we're representing two clients in the same matter, and there is a potential for a conflict of interest, we're required to disclose that in writing. And in order to represent two clients who could have a potential conflict of interest, we need to get a written waiver of that potential conflict. I'll just give you an example of how a conflict could arise between my representation of the city of Diamond Bar as the city attorney and as general counsel for the authority. So for instance, under the joint powers agreement, all members are required to make contributions as their pro rata share of the administrative expenses of the authority. And if a member fails to do that, it's a breach and they can be held in default. So if Diamond Bar didn't make its payment and there was a potential for the authority to hold Diamond Bar in default, then that would be something that I would abstain from, because then there would be an actual conflict of interest. So those, just recognizing that there could be potential conflicts between the city of Diamond Bar and the authority, and also with the understanding that the authority board is charged with hiring an independent legal counsel that's not representing any of the three cities within the first 6 months. And we hope to get that on the agenda pretty soon. So I'm kind of the stopgap, if you will.
Thank you for the explanation, I appreciate it, sir.
So that brings me to a question, because I was wondering if we needed to, so we need to bring it back on the agenda, or do we authorize the executive director to then start researching and then bring back potential candidates to us? That's what I was wondering, because I was going to recommend that we would
Me and Dan can start working on an
direction to some
RFP.
RFQs,
Or RFQ.
and then when you've got some candidates, and then even then I thought we might perhaps have an ad hoc committee and have a representative from each city that could then possibly either meet or interview. I don't know exactly how that goes or what the desire of the board is at this time, but I do think that that's probably the right direction to go in.
If the board wants to, we can set up an ad hoc to get the process started and then come back to the board to interview different firms.
We sort of put on the agenda
For the next
to discuss the
meeting.
process, right? For the next
For the next meeting. Okay, so then at this time, we need a motion for 3.2.
So moved.
Second.
All right, Julie?
Roll call. Board Member Steve Ty.
Yes.
Board Member Newell Ruggles.
Yes.
Board Member Peter Rogers.
Yes.
Board Member Ray Marquez.
Yes.
Board Member Catherine Marcucci.
Yes.
Vice Chair Carol Herrera.
Yes.
Chair Corey Moss.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0. Item 4, old business, none. Item 5, new business, 5.1, discussion regarding insurance.
Good evening, Chair and members of the Tres Hermanos Conservation Authority. My assistant city manager, Ben Hung, did a little bit of research on this, so I'll call him up and have him educate us a little bit on the insurance.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Welcome.
Thank you, Chair Moss and members of the authority. As Troy mentioned, item 5.1 is discussion of insurance coverage for Tres Hermanos. And in short, all three cities have had a discussion to ensure that the property has both property and premises liability to cover both the structures as well as any sort of incidents that may occur on the property. Staff is currently obtaining quotes from various carriers, including the Municipal Insurance Cooperative, which is a insurance pool of 8 cities, and then the Joint Powers Insurance Authority. Procedurally, based on the JPA formation documents, the Chino Hills Purchasing Ordinance does govern the procurement process, and under that, I believe, Section 3.16.090 of the Chino Hills Municipal Code, the executive director does have signature authority for up to $25,000. But what we're asking this evening is if the board can authorize the executive director to obtain a 1-year property and premises policy not to exceed $25,000 with coverage limits established by legal counsel. And so that is the direction we would be seeking from. That really concludes my presentation. At this point, I'd be happy to answer any questions that the board may have.
What type of coverage does industry have now on Tres Hermanos? What are the limits and the costs and so on?
I believe the insurance limits are somewhere about $2 million for incidents. I think the deductible, the retention is, I think it's something like $5,000 per incident.
Thank you.
What's the current insurance? Did that just renew recently on an annual basis, or?
The city's total insurance coverage for all of its assets, all of its liabilities is in the process of being renewed. So that's being reevaluated. Right now, as it applies to the ranch, I think we probably want to talk with legal counsel a little bit about how the existing insurance coverage carries over.
And then is that also covered because of the residents that are currently there? Because there's 2 dwellings, correct?
There's for Tres Hermanos, there's property coverage for the structures on the property. So that would be the house, the mobile home. And so for those structures, there's property coverage. In addition to that, there's separate premises coverage for any sort of incidents that occur on the property.
So liability coverage for those?
Liability coverage for those.
Great.
Yeah, just a couple questions pertaining to the cattle liability. So we do have liability, the cattle would, if they were to hurt somebody, we'd be covered?
Well, that would be the goal as far as obtaining insurance. That's part of what we would, part of what we would work towards is obtaining quotations to have that coverage for the property.
And then also workers' comp. We do have a caretaker on the property. Would that be included too?
Now there's a tenant in one of the houses.
Okay.
I think
So he's not an
separately.
employee of the,
Not an employee.
Okay.
Not an employee of the city, and frankly, they're a tenant of that's occupying the house.
are they obligated to have some sort of a coverage?
I don't know what their license agreement covers, so I'd have to actually I could sit down with your legal counsel and review what's covered under the license
Yeah,
agreement.
if you could do that, I appreciate that.
Sure.
I'll just jump in here. Again, I would have to look at the license agreement myself, but if they're sole proprietors, then they wouldn't have to carry workers' compensation insurance. And then, of course, all of the various cities' employees would be covered by the workers' comp that you have with the cities.
Because currently, I think we have security out there too. I'm sure that their agreements cover the workers' comp. Obviously, that's going to be amended.
Well, and that's one of the things I will do is look at the existing agreements we have in place, because oftentimes those agreements will require, in turn, the contractor to carry their own general liability insurance, which defends and indemnifies probably the city of industry right now. So we may have to amend those so that they defend and indemnify the authority instead, right?
So I guess I'm trying to understand this. So we don't know what we currently have covered right now through the city, what our insurance policy is?
I think that's what we're looking at, and that's why we have to get, and even if the city is covered, the question is, okay, does that carry over to the authority?
Right, well, I guess I'm just, like, if we knew what we were currently had and were covering, we could almost mirror that into a new policy.
Perhaps, but we might want to look at maybe getting higher liability coverage.
Absolutely.
Because, and the reason is because the authority doesn't have any, and has hardly any funds, right?
No, absolutely, I'm
Right.
just, I guess, as a starting point to even know what we are looking at having.
And that would probably be the base. Yeah.
You know, just looking at what the city currently has.
Okay. We will.
So we'll review that and bring that back to council, or I mean to the authority.
Well, the request was to go ahead and authorize the executive director to spend up to his
Up to
$25,000 to secure insurance, and I would suggest that we get the insurance sooner rather than later.
Okay.
Even if it's temporary, right?
Right.
Correct.
Right.
Okay.
And then the money part of it to be as high as possible, like the 5 million instead of 2 million probably,
Right.
what we would go for.
Yeah, I mean, 2 was like maybe a 5 million aggregate, I think, a lot of us have.
Yeah, we'll take a look at that. Okay.
Or higher. Okay, so is everyone in agreement? We don't need a motion on the 3?
Yes. Yes. It should be.
No motion?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
Roll call. Board Member Steve Ty?
Yes.
Board Member Noah Ruggles?
Yes.
Board Member Peter Rogers?
Yes.
Board Member Ray Marquez?
Yes.
Board Member Catherine Marcucci?
Yes.
Vice Chair Carol Herrera?
Yes.
Chair Corey Moss.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0. 5.2, discussion regarding the possibility of creating a Trace Hermanos Conservation Authority website.
So, a couple weeks ago, when we were all celebrating our new marriage and relationship, the City of Industry's city engineer got online and got some domain names for us if we were interested in having our own website. One of the options is the 3 cities can kind of have their own websites for Tres Hermanos, or we could just have one that we share where we post pictures and current events and the agendas and updates and stuff like that. So we got, Josh got tracehermanos.org, tracehermanosconservationauthority.org, and tracehermanosauthority.org. And what we can do, I just wanted to update the board that we have those, and what we can do. You can give me direction if we wanted to have our own website or not.
I think it's a great idea. I don't know how everybody feels about whether we want just one. I think having just one that everybody is able to have access to, all 3, it wouldn't be, it'd be less confusing for one thing. And I just
Yeah.
think it kind of just gives us all more reason to continue to work together and have one.
We just have to figure out who's gonna operate it.
Well,
Yeah, you know,
I think all 3 cities would have access to it
Right.
to put stuff on it.
Yeah.
What legal counsel think about that?
Well, I think that would be fine. I think probably the ultimate, I think anything right now should probably go through industry because industry is acting as the executive director. And then as that changes, then whoever's the acting executive director would have overall oversight of the website. Overall oversight of the website.
Yeah, there you go.
I think that's
I do think it needs to be, you can have input just like we do on agendas, but somebody's got to control it, or it's going to be unwieldy.
Right.
And I think it's a good idea to be able to have a hyperlink to it. But I also think it's a good idea to walk before we run. We need to worry about insurance, we need to worry about an attorney, we need to worry about the legal aspects, and I think that, I'm glad we have 3 names, but I don't really think that requires immediate action.
Well, it can be a work in progress also. You can start, if you get the bones of it going, and we can, tracehermanos.org or whatever. Someone's gonna grab it if we don't. I mean,
Yeah.
Well, you did.
And that's what Josh did.
Yeah. which-
He grabbed some of
smart.
Well, did he do it on his time? because he's gonna wanna be paid.
It's okay. I think I owe him $20 a piece, so.
If I may, through the chair, if there's any other names or variations to that that come to mind, please do not hesitate to let us know, and we can, start thinking about that package. But yeah, it's certainly not a high priority, but it is something that we'll work towards as time permits.
What were the three again? You said tracehermanos.org, Trace Hermanos Conservation Authority?
TraceHermanos.org, TraceHermanosConservationAuthority.org, which is kind of long, and TraceHermanosAuthority.org. I kind of like the shorter one, TraceHermanos.org.
TraceHermanos.org. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we probably need to snip something.
There's other fun things we can look at, like creating
Yeah.
logos and stuff, but that's all farther down the line after we get some work done.
Trying to find a cattle brand from Trace Hermanos, and nobody can seem to find one.
You can
Josh,
use Diamond Bar.
Yeah, Josh actually talked to one of the ranchers that said he's been out there for 40 years, so might be able to get his brand and.
Yeah, I just feel like, that might be something to kind of circle it back to.
Do the other cities, Chino Hills and Dunbar, do they have their own web developers, or do they have a contract for web development, their own websites? We do, Chino Hills does. We recently updated ours within the last year, I would say.
Yeah, year and a half ago.
Diamond Bar has their own personnel that
They have their own
handles that.
staff.
Oh, and we're the same. We have someone that laid it out and put it together, and then we maintain it on a daily basis.
And City of Industry doesn't, so maybe we can look for some help. We can put stuff on our website, but we wouldn't be able to just design a new one.
Sam?
You're not volunteering?
Facebook page.
Okay. So we're not gonna take any action on this at this time. We'll wait and see if there are any other suggestions or ideas later. Okay.
Yep.
All right, so at this time, I believe that will take us into closed session.
Closed session 6.1.